TLDR, for anyone that doesn't want to watch this full 90-minute explanation with all of the receipts that I've got, is that no, we did not plagiarize TTZach. Neither me nor my editor, my scriptwriter, etc. None of us plagiarized TTZach. That just didn't happen. And everyone that's been spreading that over the last 24 hours, in my mind, has really jumped the gun in making that conclusion without even hearing me out first, which sucks. So I'm now going to explain everything, but I just want to put the TLDR out there that we have not plagiarized Zach here at all. And here is why. Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. There's been a lot of misunderstanding on the internet over the last 24 hours. And it's been a weird one because, so for example, I was just doing an Apex Legends stream, and I had a huge number of people coming into the chat being like, address the allegations, like address the plagiarism, which was interesting. And then I had a load of other people coming in being like, I'm so disappointed in you. I was like, huh? Excuse me, what? And I think what's basically happened is people have gotten this misunderstanding into their heads, which I'm going to explain, right? And they've been so willing, like they've seen an opportunity to like cancel Milo or whatever, and they're like, this is the best day ever. We get to just completely try and ruin him. Amazing. Like, people are chomping at the bit for this, and it's in a way that's like kind of unsettling. I'm not gonna lie. The number of people that have actually engaged in good faith about this and like even just bothered to ask me about what's gone on here is like near zero compared to the number of people that are like, dude, I can't wait to trash this guy. And it's just depressing. Like, I've spent the last couple of weeks like really dabbling with a lot of the Destiny community, right? And the Destiny community has been so wonderful and welcoming, and it's been really incredible. And it just kind of stings a bit that this happens in zombies, right? This, again, misunderstanding, which I'm going to explain. And people are like, we can kill Milo. It's the best day ever. Like, I've been here for so long. Do I not at least get the grace of 24 hours to be heard out? Not even 24, just to respond at all? Like, I don't know, man. It's been quite depressing on my side of things, because people are just super keen to assume the worst of me, and they're also super keen to just absolutely categorically make their judgment before I've even said anything, which it just sucks. That, like, it is never a fun position to be in, just in life in general. So I've been pretty sort of sad to see that over the course of today, and that's why I'm making this video about this, because I was planning, when somebody mentioned it, somebody mentioned it and Joe saw it because I went to bed. I posted the video, then I went to bed. But I woke up and Joe had already responded to it on Twitter. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, we can just put this in like a news segment in a news video. We can explain it in a news video as part of the broader video, and it'll be fine. But I feel like because like my chat's been so rough today, I'm like, okay, we'll just do a dedicated video. I'll just talk through it. That's fine, whatever. So the last thing I want to say before we sort of start walking through the timeline here is that if you're coming at this video and you've already decided I'm guilty of this plagiarism that you've got in your head, we're clearly not having a productive conversation, right? Like, you are not here at this point as an adult or a child or whatever you might be. We are not here in good faith actually trying to figure out what's gone on. You're just here to like hate on me and hate on my content, right? And that is fine if that's the case, but I want to make sure that you are being honest with yourself, that you are just a hater in that moment. You are not someone that's actually trying to have a genuine discussion, right? Like, that is fine, but let's just make sure that we call a spade, right? Whereas if you're someone that's like, I saw this thing that I'm worried about, and I want to hear what Milo has to say about it, hell yeah. Thumbs up in my book. Like, I encourage that sort of thing. 100%. 100%. So let's talk through the timeline now. And again, please walk through this with me in good faith. Hear out what I'm going to say rather than what Reddit has already crucified me for. Presumably, I haven't looked, but my chat is enough to tell me. Also, weirdly, my mentions are like, there's no one in my mentions talking about this. So I feel like this has to be coming just from Reddit. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Whatever is happening, it's very strange. So the timeline of the story in the last 24 hours is as follows, right? About 24 hours ago, I posted a video called The 10 Stages of Being a COD Zombies Player, right? And I'm just going to edit on screen right now. This is what the title looks like. And this is what the thumbnail looks like. And it's a video which walks through the 10 stages of what it's like to become a zombies player. You start off being a noob and then you become more advanced as you go, right? Pretty simple stuff. Now, the main complaint, as I understand it, seems to be that it turns out there's actually another YouTuber called TTZach who has already made that video before, right? So TTZach, I actually haven't seen his content before, but he's got 24K subs, and he made a video which was posted, let's see. Okay, we're gonna search this live because it's gonna be hard to do it otherwise. So I just searched TTZach 10 stages on the YouTube search, right? So 10 stages of every zombies player posted a year ago, okay? And the thumbnail, this 10 stages thing, I mean, you can see that I haven't even watched the video. I haven't clicked on it. But the thumbnail here is Richtofen in his, like, unzombified form, and then is Richtofen in his zombified form, and I guess you've got blue and red. I don't know what the backgrounds are. Maybe that's the Dark Ether or something. I don't know. But that's the thumbnail, right? And the video that I've posted just 24 hours ago, 1 year later from this, seems to be, at face value, seems to be the same thumbnail, but with just a different background, right? 10 stages of every zombies player. The format of the title, sorry, the format of the banner text here is the same. And it's Richtofen. It's the split face of Richtofen, right? So naturally, there is some confusion about the fact that Zach's thumbnail and my thumbnail are very similar, right? Naturally. That is completely natural. I back that. Fair enough. But in order for you to understand why this is actually not all that crazy, and this is really a big misunderstanding, like I've said, we need to go back in time a little bit, okay? So, you can also see, by the way, that, like, Zach has posted, like, some other 10 stages videos, 10 stages of every Origins player, etc. Now, we need to go back in time to about 8 months ago, where I spoke to a guy called Vexian, right? And Vexian is a YouTube strategist who advises different people on just general YouTube strategy. That is his thing. That is what he does. And I spoke to Vexian, not in like a paid consultation, but just as sort of like a catch up between the two of us and to sort of explore whether it would be a good fit for us to work together in the future. And we were like, oh, well, Milo's got his own stuff going on with Black Ops 6, so I probably don't need to sort of pay for his services right now. But one thing that he recommended I do is he said, you should check out my friend Shadow Destiny, who's been doing a lot of these reproducible YouTube formats that you could absolutely bring over to zombies. Okay, so let's look up Shadow Destiny right now. So as you can see, Shadow Destiny, 2 years ago, before Zach ever made the format, is posting 10 stages of every Titan main, every Destiny 2 player, every Hunter main, and it's the split face, right? 3 years ago, the exact same thing. So just to begin with here, when I first learned about this format, it was from Vexian telling me that his friend Shadow Destiny does it in Destiny. Okay, and this is the sort of stuff that I was looking at. I was looking at these exact videos, right? So I learned about it from Vexian. I looked at Shadow Destiny's channel. I was like, these are really cool videos. These are all videos in Destiny, right? And then I was like, did this come from Destiny or did this come from elsewhere? Like, what is the deal with this format, right? And so I looked around and I found that actually it seems like 7 years ago, the exact same thing was being done in the TF2 community, right? 10 stages, 10 stages, 10 stages, 10 stages, 10 stages, 10 stages, 10 stages. And notice, these are all from different content creators. Big Joey, Crom the God, Tufty, Hamaji Neo actually did several of them, Pirateer, there's more Hamaji, like there's a ton of different people, right? So I was like, okay, this is really cool. This is a format that looks like it started 7 years ago, or maybe more, I actually don't know, but like started years and years ago in the TF2 community, with this format of the split face in the bottom and the 10 stages in the top, from different creators as well. Like, it's not just one person that's doing it. They all use this same banner format. They all use the same faces. They all use even the same music across all the videos, etc. And Shadow Destiny does the exact same thing. Shadow Destiny uses the same music. It's the same format in the video. It's the same style. It's the same title. It's the same banner. And it's the same split face. Okay? These are all things that happened before TTZach ever came into the picture, right? And so what I did is I looked at Shadow Destiny's content and I was like, okay, is this just his thing? Like, if it's only his thing, then I don't want to just like carbon copy his music. I don't want to carbon copy this, that, and the other. Like, I want to put my spin on it, right? As a format. But then I saw, oh, actually, it's not Shadow Destiny's thing. It doesn't belong to any one person here. There's like a dozen different people all making these exact same style of videos, right? So I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to do the zombies version, right? Because I'd seen Shadow Destinies and I'd seen the TF2 stuff, Hamaji Neo especially. So Hamaji Neo's, I think, was like, maybe he was the originator, but I don't know. It's very hard to tell. But I think that was probably the case. And that, for the record, is why I mentioned Hamaji Neo in the description of my video. Just like some of the TF2 people here mention Hamaji Neo in the description of theirs. These are based on my own experience. A tribute to the series made by Hamaji Neo. Okay, cool. So like, Hamaji Neo maybe is the originator, perhaps. But I was put onto it from the Destiny sort of equivalent, and so I was like, okay, let's make the zombies equivalent. So that's what we did, right? We sat down, me and Joe is my primary editor. He does a lot of the overall content creation really on my channel, alongside myself. I obviously do a lot of it too, but Joe's really in the trenches when I'm busy with other things. When I'm busy with Destiny, for example, Joe's still working away on zombies, right? And so Joe wrote a script, and I could show you the script, I guess, if people really wanted to see the script. It's not super relevant, to be honest, but Joe wrote a script, and I was like, actually, I don't like the script. So we then rewrote the entire script all over again. We started from first principles. We were like, okay, what is the first thing that a zombies player would do at stage 1 of their life? And we figured that out, and then we just extended it and we worked it through. We wrote up a set of bullet points, and then Joe fleshed out those bullet points and turned it into the full script. And then I recorded the audio, and then I passed it to Joe, and Joe cooked on the edit. Okay, pause. This is Milo from the future. I just said a second ago that I didn't think the script was relevant because I didn't realize people thought that we stole the script, which is comical because we wrote the script. I will show you the document where we wrote the script. But this XD Plug 77 guy says it's not even up for debate. Woe is me. I can't even reply, guys. That's crazy. I'm not even allowed to respond. It's the exact same thumbnail and points in the video. It's like he didn't even try to make it different than the video he stole from. My guess is that someone else wrote the script for the video and Milo didn't realize it was stolen. Stealing from a small YouTuber when you have millions of subscribers is crazy work. Dude, it's the high and mighty, like, it actually tilts me so much. If I'd been caught red-handed right now, this would have to be a moment where I'd have to be like, fair enough. But it's the fact that this is not what's happened. So, okay, let's talk about the script, and I will watch Zach's video for the first time, ironically, and we will try to find the things that you are saying Zach did set, like I took from, I haven't seen his video, but we will do that just for you, XD Plug. Seeing as it's not up for debate, we might as well do it anyway, right? So I'm clicking on Zach's video here. There we go. Let's just pause that real quick. It's my first time seeing this. It's 8 minutes long as well. Mine is 16 minutes long. So either I yap a huge amount. Anyway, it's besides the point. This is my script. So just to be clear, this is 26 pages. Why would I write 26 pages of script? I mean, it's not actually 26 pages because some of it's notes, but why would I write all this script if I was just going to copy his video? It would be dumb to do. It would be more work. Like, but it's not up for debate, by the way. It's not up for, okay. Jesus Christ, this makes me so annoyed. Okay, so let me explain how this works. Like I just said, we wrote a script and it wasn't good enough. And I said to Joe it wasn't good enough, and so we rewrote it, right? So the original version, I think we can actually find it here. This is like the old version, right? This is me saying, Joe, don't spend 4 hours writing one page. This is me giving him some direction. So I said, watch multiple 10 stages videos, not just Shadow Destiny. So we were saying, why do they work the way they do? Like, why is the format as good as it is? Why it should be worded a certain way, why the script is a certain way, why gameplay is a certain way. Brain info dump to get it in the right structure. Evaluate and say, is this good? Like, what is it about the structure from Shadow Destiny and the people that did it before that is good in TF2? How can we make it better? Like, this is what I said at the time. Spend 30 minutes writing it and then do 3 hours. And then, so it was like, yeah, Joe's given himself a checklist here. And I guess his grandma had a tech emergency, so he just noted that down for himself. And then this is the 10 stages of every Destiny player, which he's looked at and he's taken notes on to see what's good and what's not, right? So he says, the first part hit pretty hard. I remember playing the hell out of the first Destiny beta and playing vanilla Destiny for the first time, and I was absolutely entranced by the game now that things are different. The first frame says stage 1, first words are stage 1, so he doesn't do an intro. Things Destiny players get to do for the first time, like riding a sparrow. Then it's the pattern break, and players find out they shouldn't punch the glowing flying enemies because they explode. So he's taken his notes on the Destiny version of the video to understand the format, right? And he's like, I love the stage 9 Sherpa stage. You forget the stage where you go so deep into lore that you bought the Grimoire book and watched all My Name is Bife's videos. Like, this is what Joe is doing here, right? Then Joe is writing his 10 stages of a zombies player. So he's tried to learn the format, and he's then tried to say, okay, what would the zombies version of this be? And so he said, okay, stage 1, discovery, right? Most zombies players get the new Call of Duty because their friends play it. They first try MP, one night they discover zombies. And actually, you know what? We workshopped this a little bit. So stage 1 is not the best representation because it's closer to the reworked version. So let's go from stage 2. So stage 2, Joe is going to call self-centered, right? They might have seen someone get something from the mystery box. They continue spending points only to realize the box moves if they spend too many times. They're confused. They want the wonder weapon. Eventually they get a ray gun they think is the greatest thing in the world, but they realize the ray gun not only damages zombies but themselves too. And he was going to put in a revive me bro, I have the ray gun thing. We were thinking about doing an IRL skit. And then we were saying, okay, maybe they buy perks for perk machines. They can keep zombies alive, etc. And then they get to sort of pack a punch. Then stage 3, curiosity. So he wrote all this stuff, right? And like, so anyway, he wrote this, right? And this is work in progress, right? So like some of this, in fact, a lot of this I've not read because I read the first 3 chapters of it and I was like, this is not good enough. So what we then did after all of this, right, is Joe wrote this and he just did it in a way that I felt like was like the wrong order of operations. So I was like, we need to start again. And so Joe and I restarted the script and we restarted it saying, okay, what would actually happen at each of these stages? And we wrote these bullet points, right? So these were the bullets of what our thinking was of genuinely what the 10 stages of a zombies player are. You discover it because of your friends. You spawn in, you realize there's even zombies coming at you. Like you need to talk about the fact that there's going to be rounds. You kill them and more of them spawn in. They get harder and faster. Hey. You run out of ammo, right? That's a typical thing that happens on round 5 Unlimited Falls. You run out of ammo. You see your green power-ups for the first time as well. That's new to a new player. So you get a max ammo. You beat your first round 5. It's amazing. But you want to get better, right? So like that's stage 1. And I'm going to talk through all of these because apparently it's not up for debate, by the way. And then we'll watch Zach's video and we'll see how it compares, okay? So stage 2, you try another map. So our thinking there was like, okay, the first time you play Liberty Falls, when you then jump in to Terminus, you get slaughtered and you go back to Liberty, right? But the way that we wanted to word it in the video was, we didn't want to say Liberty Falls and Terminus because we wanted our video to be general about general zombies because I want this video to be watchable in a year from now and still apply to the next zombies game. So that's why I'm saying try another map. And in the video, we show Liberty Falls and Terminus gameplay, but we say another map here. So you try another map, you die, you gravitate to whatever the easier map is that you have access to. You start opening doors, you find the mystery box, you spin it, you pull a pistol out of the box, you see the machine with a health symbol, this helps you survive, then you get Pack-a-Punch, it costs too much money, and then you've gotten to Pack-a-Punch, and that in itself is a new achievement, so that's the end of stage 2. This is our thinking, right? For like the general flow. Stage 3, I guess you guys have seen my video. You probably actually haven't. Most of you are probably hating on the video without even having seen it, but I'll just show you the sort of high level here. So this is what we had for stage 3. You maybe unlock some camos. You think, oh, I'm going to go into a public match. We wanted to have the public match thing early on because it would be a fun callback to become the godlike player. And then in the public match in the beginning, you're seeing a godlike player doing stuff and you're like, I want to be them. And then you get to that stage later on. So we thought that would be a fun callback. So that's why we had the man I could be like that guy one day. That was very intentional. Then it's like, oh, okay, I want to see a player getting better at the game, right? I see a player that is already good at the game. I want to be better at the game. So it becomes about how you're going to grind through that stuff, right? So you discover wonder weapons, you look for monkey bombs, but then more zombies start spawning in to ruin your day, but you do manage to take them down because you're more powerful at that point. And you discover the hi guys thing. We thought it'd be a fun gag to have the hi guys in there as well. We go through, and also just to be clear, again, use your critical thinking here, guys. If I If this script was all stolen, I wouldn't have a rational explanation for why everything is ordered the way that it is. I would have had to like write 20 pages of script before this video when I've streamed Apex Legends for 9 hours today. I would have had to write 20 pages of script just to pretend that I didn't copy Zach. I would have had to cut out any mentions of Zach that we hadn't hit with. They don't exist. Like, I would have had to jump through so many more hoops of extra work for this to be a Zach video. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense if you critically think about it. And I would not have all of this background explanation for why I've ordered it the way that I have. Like, it wouldn't be here. So anyway, we go through stage 5, you're researching. For stage 6, where's stage 6? That's missing. So stage 6, you're a fan. We wanted to have something where it wasn't just like the current maps at that point. There's obviously the phenomenon in zombies where you rinse the present maps, the current maps loads, but then you get excited for the next map that's coming out. And then once you're excited for the next map, that's when you start to get into the sort of cynic stage, which is why we wanted to have the snob stage in there. And that happens to all zombies fans. It's the same for everybody. Then we've got the cynic stage where you've gone from not just being a snob where you're like on Reddit spouting all these opinions and thinking that you're the absolute, like, there is no other, it's not even up for debate, right? That is you at stage 7, the snob stage. But you then go to the cynic stage where you're actually just hating on everything. And like, it's actually funny because somewhere, where do we put it? Was there, I think it was stage 7. We had this thing where you break up with MrRoflWaffles. Yeah, you talk about how much you hate YouTubers. Dude, the guy that made that post is literally in stage 7 right now. He's talking about how much he hates me. But when you get past stage 8 and you get to stage 9, the enlightened, you realize, oh, hold on, actually, maybe my head is up my ass and there's another explanation for what's going on here. Or maybe the YouTuber isn't so bad after all. Yeah, I mean, this was our flow, and then we were like, oh, we want to have speedrunning included. We want high rounds included. In Destiny, that's like doing low mans and stuff as well. So like we want that pinnacle kind of content. And then stage 10 is the vet where you're at peace, right? And this is a logical script written based on the fact that all zombies players genuinely go through this cycle. All zombies players start off as noobs. They struggle on the content they have access to. They get better at it. New maps come out. They are excited about that. It's Christmas morning. It's wonderful. And then the new car smell wears off and they become more cynical because they want it to have the new car smell still. And then eventually they're like, actually, I've been cynical about this for so long, but rose-tinted goggles, Black Ops 4 isn't so bad. The old stuff isn't so bad. The stuff I hated on isn't so bad. And I'm actually at peace. Like, that is... all of us go through that. So that is the logical script here. So now let's see Zach's video, and I will critique the video as I go. And again, I haven't seen this video, so this could be my first time seeing it. I assume it's a well-made video because it has 400k views, so it must be. But yeah, let's watch Zach's video and see how he's written it compared to me and where we agree and disagree.
Stage 1 starts the journey of a fresh Call of Duty Zombies player.
Yep.
Stage 1 players are usually attempting their first...
Okay, straight away, I would not be starting this with Black Ops 1 here. I thought it was really important not to start there, because as soon as you do Black Ops 1 in the menu, in my view, you alienate people. And so if he's going to be talking about, like, BO1 stuff here, like, that is a categorical choice that we don't want to do that, in my view. But oh, God, I'm messing up. Let's keep going.
Usually attempting their first game of Call of Duty Zombies. They're generally
Kino,
pretty scared,
familiar.
but they're also curious to find out what this mode has to offer. Right away...
Okay, I disagree straight away. I don't think that you're scared loading into zombies for the first time. I don't think you know what zombies is the first time you load in. So I disagree there. Also, for those of you that are wondering, this format of the text on the screen, that's Shadow Destiny, that's the TF2, like that is the format. That's how the format works. So yeah, let's keep going.
This mode has to offer. Right away, these players are introduced to things that Zombies players in the later stages already know, including wall buys, perks, and barriers to rebuild. And that's all before encountering their first ever zombie. So he says that it's stuff that future players already know. We didn't want to say any stuff like that because in our, like, again, I just disagree with how he's written the script here. I felt like it was important for stage 1 to only be within the frame of stage 1. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want it to be like, at stage 1, you're doing stuff that like stage 10 players would laugh at. Like at stage 1, we wanted to frame it as like, you are doing things and then like maybe people are laughing at you, but you don't understand why, right? So again, if I'd copied the script from him, I would have just spat out the same words he's spitting out here. I wouldn't have any of this other
my own thinking here. Okay,
so,
let's keep going.
they find out that the starting pistol is absolute garbage.
And again, there is no starting pistol in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and we wanted to make this as general as we could for everybody. So it didn't make sense to like basically lock it to a game. So we made a very conscious decision not to talk about specific spawn-in weapons so that it could apply to spawn-in pistols, but it could apply to everything.
They will usually start to panic. This is usually followed up with a down, but luckily for them, their journey is only just beginning.
Oh, so that was really short, actually. Interesting. Okay. I wanted to have more stuff in there because I feel like just the down there doesn't give you enough pull into the next stage. And there's pros and cons here. The pro could be that it's a short stage one, which maybe is helpful for understanding the format for a new viewer. But the downside is that, like, stage 1 just randomly turns into stage 2. Whereas we thought it was really important, like, when we were writing the script, we were like, okay, we want it to feel like you discover the mode because of your friends, and then, obviously, the zombies start spawning in, but then you die and you have a personal best, so you have a reason to come back. Like, that was something that we really thought was important there. Let's keep going. Okay, he's got the piano music, same as the rest of the format.
When the player loads back in for a second time, they know a little bit more about what to expect from Call of Duty Zombies.
Well, obviously.
They've got their pistol, they know where the zombies come from, and they're ready to get their first few real kills. Okay, I'm not gonna die this time. Let's just stand back, and there we go. Now the player notices they're gaining points for killing the zombies, and
yes, new players have to learn that.
There's things they should buy with those points. There's doors.
Well, I actually disagree. Again, I disagree that players even know what points are for at the beginning. I think but it's just because he's still on round 1. So
they should buy with those points. There's doors that lead to other parts of the map. They can finally buy the perks they were looking at earlier. And same.
Okay, he mentioned that they were talking about perks. We decided that players wouldn't find perks at that stage. So again, he's doing it differently here.
Point that the player will literally buy everything they see. If they can afford it, they buy it. I mean, like
Okay, interesting. We disagree script-wise there. I don't think that they do that, but
have to see if this is good, right? Like, I have to.
Okay, that was a good cut. I like the way he's edited this.
Stage 3 sees the new Zombies player get the hang of the game more and more with each second they play, but they still keep finding new exciting features. They stumble on a few.
This is everyone in the game does this. And by the way, it's awkward because, like, I worry that when I'm saying obviously, I worry it sounds like I'm, like, pooping on Zach's work here. I'm not, to be absolutely clear. When I'm saying obviously, what I'm meaning is that obviously happens to all Zombies players, and therefore that is going to be in both videos, because both videos are about the same topic, right? Like, it is not copying for me to be like, what does a new Zombies player do? They spawn in and they die, and then they start buying doors. And Zach also said they start buying doors, therefore it's copying? Like, no. That's just what all new Zombies players do, right? That's why I keep saying obviously. But I want it to be clear that I'm not, like, hating on his edit by any means here. I disagree with how he's written it. I mean, we didn't write it that way, so that's why it's different.
One being a power switch. They also encounter their first few power-up drops, but don't know what any of them do quite yet.
So our thinking with this was you're going to get your first power-ups before round 5. And basically, we were thinking that you're going to, like, our reasoning for the way we structured it was you're going to run out of ammo before your first bug round when you're new, but you might have gotten a max ammo before that point. But we were like, okay, let's just not worry about that. Let's assume that you got a different power-up first. In that case, that's your first ever power-up. So we mentioned getting your first power-up. And then we were like, oh, okay, could we mention not reloading before max ammos and stuff like that? And then we were like, well, that's not a thing in Black Ops 6 Zombies. What else can we do that's like a newbie thing to do with drops? Well, it would be like grabbing a nuke before the end of the round, right? And that's why we made that a gag, like a returning gag in... Well, actually, did we make that a returning gag in the end? I think we thought about it, but then we changed it to killing the crawler with your gun. But yeah, that was our thinking there.
In this stage will often be seen not reloading before grabbing max ammos, grabbing nukes when they could have instead killed the zombies for more points, and not knifing during insta-kills. They also find something called a mystery box that costs 950 points, and when they spin it, they get a random gun. Looks like we got a shotgun. Pretty cool. Another thing they find is a weird machine that tells them it will pack-a-punch their gun for 5,000 points.
Again, all new players go through these stages, so it is obvious that our videos would be similar in this area.
They're initially skeptical
obviously.
of it because it costs the most amount of points that they've been told to spend so far, but they try it anyway, and they quickly realize that it...
Okay, so he's saying they try it anyway. In our view, players don't do that. I think that he's accelerated through the noob stage really fast. I disagree with that premise because I think that zombies players generally, when they're starting out, like, people take a long time to get good, and a lot of people just aren't good at all. So that's the reason that in our script, we spent a lot longer at this beginning bit here being like, people suck. And like, Joe even had an option where it's like they see an orange glowing canister, they hold square on it, it's the rampage inducer, they die, then they spawn back in, they're like, why the hell did I die? Like, we had a lot more sort of emphasis, I think, here on... like, they don't have points, and like, there's weird creatures attacking them, and they're like, what the hell is a bug round, and stuff like that. Whereas Zach doesn't seem to be going into any of that.
Upgraded their gun's damage and made them feel so OP. Players on this stage also experiment with different perks and try to find out what they do. They find one that gives you more health, one that makes you
so he's going
faster,
through all the perks.
and one that allows you to reload quicker.
So again, my thinking with this is that for a new player, I don't think that you actually worry about those other perks nearly as much. I think you just get Jug, and then you just like chill with Jug for a bit. Because you can't afford other stuff. That's my view on that.
The player in this stage is having a blast.
Yes, agreed.
Stage 4 is where the zombies player begins to develop strategies with their newfound game knowledge so they can survive longer.
Okay, again, this is, I just fundamentally disagree here that, well, let's see
that they
what
have
he
to make a
says.
choice between either training or camping.
Yeah, like, I disagree with this massively. Because I don't think new players get that knowledge from themselves. I think they have to get it from someone else. And that, again, is why in our script, we were like, okay, we're going to have people getting to Pack-a-Punch for the first time, right? And it costs too much money. And then they're going to get through this stage and they're finally going to Pack-a-Punch. But that is not going to be enough alone for them to start getting better. So they're going to get a new PB, but they're going to need more help. And that's why we were like, okay, realistically, how do they improve? I think it has to be with other players, right? And so that's why we were like, okay, let's put them in a public match here so they have a model to learn from. And that will also mean that we can set up the gag that we do later on where they kill the zombie at the end of the round and the teammates yell at them, right? So that's why we set things up that way. Let's keep going with what Zach's done.
Because the player in this stage is still not as skilled as ones in the later stages, they first choose to try camping.
Again, no. No, they don't. The early stage player doesn't know that anything outside of camping exists. So like, you have to have a model for them to learn from, in my view at least, which is again why we wrote the script that way. God.
Scour the map for the best camp spot and make sure
again, I disagree with all of this.
That they get all
and none of this is in our video.
Set up with their favorite guns Pack-a-Punched and the best perks bought. Then they nestle into their spot and try to get to the highest round
again,
they
I
possibly
disagree.
can.
It's valid. It's a good video. It's totally valid. I'm not critiquing his own stylistic choices here. I'm just saying that this is. I disagree. This is we wrote the script differently for a reason because I disagree.
Player
with this.
hits its first big milestone, reaching round 20. It feels so good to them at the moment. And
round 20? No way! No shot! Round 7, bro. They're going to be struggling to hit round 10.
They feel like they're infinitely better from when they first started, but they aren't satisfied.
Yes, I agree that they've improved.
So they leave their camp spot to try training, but they quickly
No, they don't know camping. They don't know training
realize
exists.
that they weren't ready for it and probably should have stayed in the safety of their camp spot. Oh shoot! Oh no! These zombies are so fast. No, and I'm dead.
Fair. He needs to go to a public match or a co-op match because otherwise, I don't understand how he's going to progress the player here.
Why did I leave? Stage 5 is where the Zombies player becomes much better at the game, and overall gets hooked to the Call of Duty Zombies franchise. They proceed by trying to master all of the maps that came
Oh, I disagree.
with their game. This includes knowing the best camping and training spots, which guns to use.
Bro, this video is so different to ours. How are you saying it's identical? How are you saying it's not even up for debate? This is so different. You're saying that they're like really good at this point, and they're like figuring out the best camping and training spots? At this point in the video, we still need the player to find somewhere to learn from.
And exactly how many points are needed to open each door and still maybe have enough for Juggernaut. In this case, they also really start to understand Wonder Weapon.
Okay, our view of it was that they would see a teammate using a wonder weapon and they'd be like, I would want that for myself, because up until the point that their teammate shows them the wonder weapon, they don't know the wonder weapon is in the box, right? Again, critical thinking, please. I would not have all of these thoughts in my head if I hadn't spent the last couple of weeks working on this script with Joe to make this video. I would not have any of this in my head. Please use some critical thinking.
When they play, they now regularly get the wonder weapons because they've
Also, he's not mentioned dogs at all. Like, no bug rounds mentioned or anything.
memorized the different ways to acquire them, whether it be part location,
Memorize the part location?
or how many spins it normally takes them from the mystery box.
We didn't talk about part locations at all.
Using these wonder weapons, and usually...
Nor did we talk about spins from the mystery box outside of just saying that once the good player shows them that wonder weapons exist, because they don't know that they exist up until this point, then they try and spin the box in just like desperate hopes of getting
pick out a favorite. Some choose the ray gun, thunder gun, or maybe even the origin stabs, as it all depends on...
Again, I disagree
which
that
game they own.
They would even... Okay, so he's interesting. He's just said it depends on which game they own. So it sounds like he's going for any zombies player starting on any game, whereas I'm more so going for a newer zombies player starting on one of the newer games, but not necessarily specifying which of the newer games. So that's interesting. That's different.
But now at this point, the player might begin to feel like they've completed everything in
No! Again, disagree.
their game and don't know where to turn next. Some players will quit here, but most will buy a different
They quit?
Call of Duty game.
Wait, they buy a new game? Bro, okay. Again, this is so different to ours.
Try. Once they get their new game, their love comes back, and they re-experience stages 1 through 5 all over again.
Okay, I see what he's saying.
Stage 6 is where the players transition from the only killing zombies and exploring the map stages to now attempting to do their first Easter egg. At this point, not much thought has been put into main quests, so the player turns to YouTube and Google to understand what they need to do. One common question
that makes sense. They're gonna find guides on YouTube
is what Easter egg to complete first. The player could be seen looking up easiest Easter egg.
None of this is in our video. We didn't have any of this because for us, we again felt like a new player is most likely going to find out that Easter eggs exist from another person. They're not going to find that themselves. Like a new player, bear in mind, the average round for zombies players is around 7. That's the average round. So we were like, realistically, this is in the script, right? Like, whenever you get to that stage in the script, let's see. So for this is still stage 4. Like, he's at stage 6. We're still at stage 4, right? Where they're hungry and they've just started seeing the wonder weapons. And a player introduces them to a part of the story they didn't know exist, the main quest Easter egg, right? That's stage 4 for us, is that they get introduced to it, but they suck and they like can't do it. So again, we've chosen a different path to kind of get there, the two of us.
Break in Call of Duty Zombies, or which map comes first in the zombie storyline, or maybe they just choose to attempt their favorite map first. But once they choose the map, they search YouTube for which steps need to be completed. Here are some common phrases you might hear emit from their devices, which are completely normal.
Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here.
Oh, okay, he's done the gag. Cool. So this is something that I hope we can all agree is a pretty big meme at this point, right? Like, I have people tell me all the time that they'll be in a lobby, right? And they'll hear other people on mic in game chat playing this audio, right? And so we were like, okay, that would be a really funny gag to do where like you can hear it over the mic or something like that. He's doing it where it's a solo player. So he's got it where it's their own device, but he's still referencing it because he's referencing YouTube guides. So cool. I'm glad we both did that gag because I think it's a funny gag.
For which steps need to be completed. Here are some common phrases you might hear emit from their devices, which are completely normal.
Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here.
Okay.
Once the player feels prepared enough, they load into the game and attempt the Easter egg for themselves. Depending on the player's skill level, they will probably fail one or more steps as they attempt the Easter egg for the first.
Okay, we didn't really talk about this because attempting the Easter egg for the first time, we were saying they were backpacked.
first time,
So
and maybe they even
different.
die altogether. It's normal for the player in this stage to contemplate
We did say that they would die. We didn't talk about contemplating quitting at all.
and just
That
going
wasn't
back
really
to going for high rounds and say to themselves,
Whoa, going back to high rounds? Again, for us, high rounds come at stage 10. I disagree that people are high rounding.
this Easter egg stuff is just not for me. Some people will never leave this stage.
But again, like mentally, I'm still in stage 4 in my video. He's about to go to stage 7.
People who advance, keep trying, and eventually complete their first Easter egg and fall in love with the feeling. After completing their first Easter egg, the player in this stage gets seriously addicted to Call of Duty Zombies and starts to become really good and eventually a tryhard. Players in this stage complete every Easter egg in the game they own and possibly all the Easter eggs that have ever been created.
Again, this is the natural progression of if following his train of thought through, once you've done one Easter egg, you will then do all the Easter eggs. So I understand why he's doing it that way.
This player memorizes every Easter egg step and takes pride in no longer
We didn't put memorization of any steps until later. I don't think that happens at this stage. I just disagree
to
again.
complete them. Players in this stage will also have a speedrunning phase. They find the fastest
Again, disagree. I think that comes later.
way to complete the Easter eggs, and they make sure they keep track of their personal best times. Some look up world record times
This would have been a cool thing to include in the video, but we didn't think of it.
and might even try to attempt one, but then quickly realize that they aren't cut out for it. Another common characteristic for players in this stage is they really start to understand the zombie storyline. Previous stage players only vaguely know the characters and basic knowledge, but if you ask the player in this stage any question,
Again, this I don't like this because what he's doing here is he's referencing other stages of how much story stuff they knew. But when he originally talked about that stage, it sounded like he didn't really go into detail about the story. I mean, did he even mention the story? I don't know. Oh, yes. Does it have a story, right? He had a Google thing for that,
storyline, or maybe
Or what map comes first? Yeah. So, like, I would have had a more of a specific zombie story bit if I was going to then reference it later, because I think the callback would have been more satisfying that way.
about the zombie storyline, they will most likely give you the correct answer. Once the player has completed every Easter egg and pretty much completed everything they've wanted to complete in the game, they start to get a little burned out. They start to realize that there's nothing that gives them that new feel anymore.
Right, that happens to all zombies
And
players.
it's almost like everything in the game is old news. In this stage, the player will probably not play as much zombies as they once did before, and instead
See, it's interesting. He's not talked at all about being a zombies fan in the continuous releasing of maps, which is quite a big part of our stages as we sort of get further in. Like stage 6, once you're like a zombies fan, once you consider yourself that, we have this thing where like a new map drops and it feels like Christmas morning, right? And then it crashes and you're like, oh damn. But then continuously you sort of stay more up to speed on all of the maps as they come out. And that's where the snobbery starts to come from, is because you're playing the new stuff and you're like, it's not as good as the old stuff. Whereas he's kind of not done that. He's kind of just saying that you're just becoming a snob because you played the old games. Or what's he calling it? What did he call it here? Did he call it something? Wait, does he not have a name for it?
storyline, they will most likely give you the correct answer.
Stage A. Oh, he called it Burnout.
Once the player focusing on real age, the
Okay.
player will probably not play as much zombies as they once did before.
Yeah, so for me, again, we took a
And
different
instead
approach
focus
there.
on other things. Maybe it's trying other games or focusing on real life stuff they need to take care of. But usually these players always come back to the game when new content is added, whether it be a new map, a new perk, or a new Call of Duty game altogether.
Oh, that's where he's okay. Well, never mind. That's where he's talking about.
Once something like that happens, they will usually play it for around 2 weeks to a month, but then they start feeling the same burnout as before. COD Zombies just never feels the same to these players ever again.
Again, this is not like TTZach's novel, incredible, unique theory. This is just what happens to everybody. We agree on this, right?
And some stay in this stage forever.
Yeah, I agree that some stay in that stage forever.
Yes, the toxic stage. The player in this stage is a major...
Again, this happens to everyone. Like, this is not Zach being like, oh, I've made a discovery. People get toxic in zombies. Like, it makes sense to reference this, yes.
A lot of it takes place on Twitter, where they complain how the game never gets updates. They might have...
Yep, that's valid.
Didn't even say how Zombies has fell off or will never be the same again. Sometimes players are even heard in real life talking about the game and saying, oh yeah, that game's trash. These players also actually never provide meaningful feedback. It's always just directed towards complaints about why the game isn't as good as others. In fact, this player doesn't even play Zombies that much anymore. They mainly keep up with the updates on Twitter and heckle as needed. Players...
I like this. If I was copying this video, I would have leaned into that more, what he just said there, if I was copying it. Because I like that, and we didn't do that. We didn't have enough in the sort of snob section. I don't think we made it clear enough that people will just like heckle on Twitter. I think that that's an accurate description of what people do. At this point, we were saying they were correcting people. We were saying that they get annoyed at their friends and they're sort of snobby towards their friends. We were saying that they ditch video guides. They only use text guides. They grind camos. Like, that's the sort of stage that we're at, the snob stage here. And then stage 8 is the cynic. Where's the cynic? So that's complaining. Go back to old. So this is where we say we go back to older zombies titles, and we start saying that the new game isn't as good as the old one. We didn't say any of this stuff about heckling. So like, if I was copying, I would have done, because that's a really good point that I agree with stylistically. I would have put that in the video.
And other stages are advised to not hang around with people who are in this stage, because it could possibly rub off on them and make them near towards the stage quicker than they would probably.
Again, that's a really good point, that if I was copying the video, we would have put it in, because I agree with that, and that would have fit in our framing. But again, I didn't copy the video, so I didn't put it in.
Stage 10 marks the ultimate zombies player, and the peak that every zombies player hopes to achieve. In this stage, players ultimately accept what Call of Duty Zombies is, and they're
acceptance. This is exactly what Shadow Destiny does in his videos as well. It's the same vibe. You come full circle. When you've been playing zombies as long as I have, 16 years, you have to accept it, right? We called it, I think, enlightenment or something.
Content with it. They understand that the game will probably never be the same again or have the peak that it once had, but they still have that little glimmer of hope that something in the future might be bigger and better. But for now, they cherish the memories that the game made for them throughout their life. The player in this stage still does play zombies, but they aren't addicted to it. It doesn't engulf their life like it does for someone who's in the sweaty stage. They play other games and take care of life necessities as needed. Players in this stage still keep up with the news on socials about the newest games, updates, custom maps, and they still deep down
custom maps. See, again, we didn't mention custom maps a single time in ours. Maybe we should have done, but that's besides the point.
Believe in Treyarch to be able to create a really good zombies game if given all the resources.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, I think that happens for all of us, where you get to a point where you're like trashing Treyarch, like Treyarch this, Treyarch that, Treyarch this, Treyarch that, and then you sort of realize, like, at the end of the day, Treyarch is doing their best, you know? And they're human as well. I think a lot of us, as we grow up, we're like, when we're younger, we don't believe in Treyarch, and we fail to sort of see them as human. And it's the same with content creators, failing to see them as human, funnily enough. But then you get older and you're like, oh, hold on, those devs at Treyarch, they are just like trying their best at the end of the day. And I think that's something that we all sort of have a realization of at some point. At least once you get to this sort of stage. So this is something we put in the video as like, let's see, how do we
But still overall,
we said the veteran, they've played hundreds of hours, maybe thousands. They're aware of the zombies community cycle. See, he didn't mention the cycle here, right? We have this well-known thing in zombies of like, you trash the thing that's new, and then eventually you start to love it once it's old. And so we were talking about that and saying they no longer participate in the cycle. This was when we first mentioned memorizing Easter egg steps, because I don't think it happens sooner. This is also when we first mentioned speedrunning, and then we say they'll be there when a new map comes out, not because it's going to be perfect, but because zombies has become part of who they are, right? And then I think I ad-libbed when I was doing the script, when I was recording it, and I said something along the lines of like, they know Treyarch is trying their best, something like that, because I wanted like one more sentence in there. Let's keep going here.
This player is content with how things turned out in their zombies playing career. And if any of these 10 stages applied to you, you have to watch this video.
Okay, and then he's just doing an end card. So yeah, where was that comment? Here, from XDPlug77, it's just crazy. It is just crazy to say it's not even up for debate when we just wrote a script, dude. I would challenge you to write a script. Don't watch Zach's video and don't watch my video, right? Write a script about someone going from the beginnings of being a zombies player to the end of being a zombies player in the format that Shadow Destiny and the TF2 folks were doing. Write it in that style, and don't have some obvious similarities like they learn to pack a punch and then they do Easter eggs. Obviously! Because all zombies players do that. That is the point of the format. But to be this absolutely dense and say it's not even up for debate is just like, again, I wouldn't be digging my heels in this way if I'd actually been caught stealing it, because at that point I'd be like, well, they got me, but it's not happened. And it's crazy to be accused of something you've not done. And also, just to insert again here, we have all the version history of writing the script. I didn't even know that I could do this, but Joe suggested it. And look, I can go back through all the version history. We can literally see the script being born. This is incredible. Look at this, dude. Why would we... Let's go to a random point in time. Let's go to the 17th of February. What was the script like then? So the script at that point was 17 pages. Looks like it was the first version of this. Oh, no, sorry. Those are the Destiny 2 notes. Though that's Joe's first version of it before we did the rewrite. This is him just writing. Let's keep going further back here. Let me see if I can find a snapshot, which is like midway through him writing it. Let's see if we can do that. 17th of February, like 5 p.m. 10 pages long at this point. Okay, so at this point, let's see. At this point, let's see, Joe has 10 stages and, oh, he's only got these bullets, okay? And the bullets, remember, on the 17th of February at 5 p.m., the bullets are, you find it because of your friends and they carry your ass. Different to Zach's video. You discover it as a bonus mode or at the end of the campaign. Different to Zach's video. Split screen with your siblings' best friends. Different to Zach's video. You die before round 10. Different to Zach's video. In Zach's video, you die in round 1. You kill zombies, sure. You see someone else with a wonder weapon. Different to Zach's video. Like, this is the 17th of February. It's all different to Zach's video because this is what Joe wrote, right? This is Joe's writing before I said it wasn't good enough on the 17th of February. Let's go back earlier. Let's go to, I'm guessing a week before he hadn't started. This was probably just Shadow Destiny notes. Nope, this is still earlier. You find zombies because of their friends, they carry your ass. So this is stuff that he changed earlier. Let's go back further here. Let's go like really early. Okay, so there we go. Perfect. So Joe had 10 stages of every Destiny player, right? And then he's got, okay, so that's Destiny stuff there. And then this is the beginning of him writing 10 stages of zombies player. So the first thing he wrote, oh, am I covering the date? My bad. Sorry if I was covering the date. The first thing he wrote, you find zombies because of your friends. You play with them split screen with your sibling. You die at round 5. This is him writing in real time. And if you think I faked this, it literally is dated the 10th of February. So like, again, if it's not up for debate, why do I literally have a time machine showing you him writing it in real time? And the first thing that he puts down on the page is not what you're saying he's copying it from. Make it make sense, dude. Oh, God, this is so annoying because it's so stupid. I can't believe I literally have like 50 version history snapshots of him writing this script. I can't believe it. And you're still sitting there saying it's not up for debate. What? Crazy. And if you're wondering what else is in here, right, as well, because you're like, oh, maybe he's just got the TTZach at the top of the page. Oh, wait, why can't I scroll? The top of the page, it's this stuff here. It's my notes to Joe. Then it's Joe's notes to himself. It's his notes on Shadow Destiny. That's what all of this is. It's notes on Shadow Destiny, notes on Shadow Destiny, notes on Shadow Destiny, notes on Shadow Destiny, notes on Shadow Destiny. It's a different Shadow Destiny video where he's just learning the format. He's understanding what's good and what he doesn't like, right? He's just bullet pointing out for himself so he understands what the Destiny format was. And again, so that he can do what he likes and what he doesn't like. And then he's completely, obviously he's not saying like, Hunters are the best in the game. Well, we're going to just like copy that into zombies, right? Obviously it doesn't make any sense. He's learning the format from the repeated format in other genres. And then he's starting to write. There's no TTZach here because we hadn't seen the video. I have time-stamped history of the document. TTZach is not, even if I go to the current version today or the most recent version today, Control F, TTZach. It's not there. Like, and this is from the 21st of February, before this became controversial. Do you not think if we'd written in the notes, right? If we'd written Shadow Destiny, do you not think we would have also written TTZach? Because we were learning the format from Shadow Destiny? Do you not think? Brain power here, guys? Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Anyway, this was like a flashback because I recorded this after I finished the video because I thought the script wasn't relevant. Then apparently this guy's saying that the script isn't even up for debate, that it was stolen. It's just wrong. Let's go back to the rest of the explanation now and we'll talk about the thumbnail. Sorry, this is a long video, but like, people can just make accusations on the internet these days and face no consequence and face like they don't even need a response from me. It's judge, jury, executioner. So I'm at least gonna sit down and speak my piece here for those who will listen, because it's crazy to accuse us of stealing something when we haven't done it. We'll get back to the rest of the video now. And like at one point, I was like, oh, Joe, we're using the same music that Shadow Destiny is using. Like, we can't do that. And Joe was like, no, actually, Shadow Destiny is using the music, but like everybody is using the music. Like that is just the way that the format works. So we should use the music as well. And I was like, okay, let's do a middle ground. Let's put some zombies music in, but we can also use that music too. But like, fine, whatever, right? We could have easily switched it out. Like, nothing was really gained from using the music other than it might just be like a nod to the format, which we were putting into zombies, right? And so Joe cooked on that. Joe did the edit, and it was great. I really was really happy with how the edit went. And then it was like, okay, we need a thumbnail. And at the thumbnail stage, I looked at Shadow Destiny and I was like, okay, well, what does Shadow Destiny do here? Shadow Destiny has all the stuff that we've seen. We've got the 10 stages at the top, nice and bold. It's got a yellow border. It's got a black sort of outline or black background, I guess, behind the 10 stages text. And then it's a split face, right? And I was like, okay, well, what the hell can we do with a split face in zombies, right? What could that possibly be? And I've been working with a guy called Drake recently on some renders in Call of Duty. And I was like, okay, my first thought was, can we get a render of a character that could be a good split face? Because I really like how with Shadow Destiny's ones, things like this, for example, like the face shape of this, I guess, is this a hunter? I'm not sure. But the face shape of this character is like pretty cohesive, so it looks pretty good. Whereas in a lot of the TF2 ones, I actually don't like the style. Like, where's a good example of one of the ones I'm less keen on? Like this, 10 stages of every spy main. I don't like the fact that these are so drastically different. I mean, maybe this is still a spy. I guess it probably is still a spy on the right-hand side, and I just don't recognize it because I'm not a big TF2 player these days. But like, for me, I was like, I want it to be a bit more cohesive, right? First things first, I just want it to like, I want to easily be able to understand what I'm looking at here. And like, this scout version is a pretty good example. But the problem I have with the scout version is I don't feel like this really represents going from stage 1 to stage 10. Like, this, I guess, is like a beginner scout, and I guess this is like an expert scout, maybe, but they look so similar, right? So I was like, surely there's a way that we can better represent going from a low stage to a high stage. There's also this pyro main one, and this one I think is pretty good. Out of all the TF2 ones, I think this is probably the best one for it. Because you've got like a regular pyro main on the left-hand side, but then on the right-hand side, it's like evil pyro. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, cool. That's, I mean, I actually didn't look at this particular thumbnail when I was working on the thumb, but this is representative of what I'm sort of talking about, which is like, it's nice to have a progression left to right of like good to evil or noob to advanced or whatever. And to be absolutely clear, this is a format that like people do in other games as well. Like a year ago, we've got this other weird sort of 10 stages thing with the split face. I mean, the split face thing is something that the split face and the banner thing is something that you see in other games too. Like this, I guess, is Roblox, I think. But again, like I can't tell straight away that this is going from like noob to pro. Like it doesn't really look like it's doing that. So there's room for improvement, right? So I'm going to open the project file in Photoshop here so that you guys can see this. So I was like, okay, we've got to have a think. What could a zombies split face be that is the same sort of dimensions, but shows going noob to pro? And I mentioned I've been working with this render artist, right? So I was like, okay, first thought is we could just get a character render made, right? I could pay like $100 or something to have a character render done where it's like an iconic zombies character on one side, and then maybe they're like evil grinning on the other side. Like that's even a thumbnail which I think I've done in my own videos before. I think I have this like evil Nikolai video. Yeah, sort of situation. It's not the actual split face technically, but basically I got a render made where I was like, I want one side of the face to be a bit more normal, and I want the other side of the face to be a bit more evil looking, right? So that was the thumbnail that we were going for there. Anyway, I digress. What I could have had done is I could have had a render done like this, which would have been normal looking on one side, and then on the other side could have been evil, right? The problem is, this thumbnail, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, was made by Liam. Liam is an incredibly talented, beyond many other things, incredibly talented, like, character artist, who will do renders that are really, really fantastic for COD Zombies characters and etc. Like 3D modeling, all that sort of stuff. So Liam did this, but Liam works for John now. So I can't just hire Liam to make me another face like this. So I'm working with different people, right? And Drake and I, who I mentioned, have recently been cooking on some renders for Black Ops 1. This is an example of said render. This is a Mason render that we were doing. And then I was like, can we actually get Mason to look a bit more angry? And this is what we had, okay? So just to kind of give you guys the back and forth here, we've got normal Mason, angry Mason, normal Mason, angry Mason. So we were working on these renders for a separate video. And because of this, I was like, you know what? I think that if we try to get like normal Nikolai, let's say, for example, and then angry Nikolai, I don't feel like it's gonna have enough of the expression that I would want this video to have, right? Like this thumbnail to have. Because what I'm seeing with the Mason here is the normal Mason to what I said was like, can we try angry Mason? We were just having some trouble getting the posing in a way that I was super happy with, right? So I was like, maybe just let's not go down the thumbnails. Let's not go down the renders direction, right? Let's just try using in-game assets instead, okay? So when you think in-game stuff, whatever it might be, trailer shots, etc. And you also are thinking the same thing I'm thinking, which is that this is 10 stages of every Zombies player, so it needs to be a Zombies character that is the most recognizable. It's definitely Richtofen, right? You could do Takio, Nikolai, or Dempsey, perhaps, but none of them are in the new universe right now. None of them are in the Dark Ether, right? None of them are in Black Ops 6, whereas Richtofen is in Black Ops 6, and he's in the old stuff. So Richtofen is the obvious choice, categorically hands down. But also then when you Google Edward Richtofen, it's like, okay, it's going to be tricky because we want a front-on shot of Edward Richtofen, right? There's some side-on shots, like this is side-on. You've got this is side-on. You've got this, which is side-on. These are all side-on, but there's fewer potential options for a fully face-on shot, right? The only other one, and I know this because I'm a massive Zombies nerd, the only other shot, and actually the shot that I thought of first when I thought, okay, Richtofen, most recognizable character, I need a face-on shot of him. There's a shot of Richtofen in the Der Eisendrache, maybe it's the like story trailer. Let's see if we can find this shot here. It's a face-on shot. I've used it in a million. Oh, there's actually this. I've forgotten about that one. I'd forgotten about that shot. Well, that's cool that we've just discovered that shot here. Oh, look, this is my own thumbnail. Amazing. So this is another shot of Richtofen that I thought of first from the DE, whatever it is, some DE trailer back in the day, DE story trailer or whatever. The problem with this is the lighting is dreadful, right? And so for a thumbnail, it doesn't really do the job that I want it to do. Like, it's just not good enough. It's not gonna easily convey, especially if I cover up half of his face here, it is not super immediately obvious that is Richtofen. Like, and even on that side, the fact that you can't see his eyeballs are a really big draw for a viewer to like click on in a thumbnail. It's a really big deal. It's why a lot of YouTubers brighten their eyes in their thumbnails. And so I was like, this shot just sucks ass. But like I showed you just a second ago, when you search the word Edward Richtofen and you just look at Google Images for pictures of Edward Richtofen, one of the first things that you see in the results is this face right here. This actually looks like this might be, is this like an AI upscaled version of it? That doesn't look like the original one. Okay, I'm getting distracted, but, oh God, what's happening here? But basically, long story short, you've got this face right next to this face, right? And we all know that you've got, I think this is what, the end cutscene of Tag, and you've got the giant intro, and I feel like this was also the Shadows of Evil jump scare, and it's like, okay, it's perfect. It's actually 100% perfect. It's the most recognizable character in Zombies. It's a really clear shot of him with his eyes visible, which also has like an evil version with his grin present, just like that Nikolai thing. So it checks all the boxes, right? So I hop into Photoshop. I download an image from Google Images of this side of his face here. I download this side of his face. I mean, actually first, I got the full face. As you can see, that's the full thing. I cut out one side of it. I got the other side of it. I cut it out. Then I was like, actually, I want there to be a glow present. So I made these new layers for it. I made a glow. I did a bunch of color correction on it as well. You can tell that I've sharpened this one here as well because this one's lower resolution. And then I was like, okay, this is good. Like, this is going in a good direction, but it's still missing some special sauce, right? What represents going from noob to pro? And I was like, well, most likely that would be like the oldest Zombies map ever. That's pretty newbie. Nacht Run Toten, right? And if we bring that forward, the pro equivalent would probably be the Dark Ether, right? So I was like, oh, we'll get a shot of like the tomb, not Tag to Toten. We'll get a shot of the tomb's Dark Ether area, and that'll be perfect. And it'll give us some nice sort of color sort of discrepancy there as well. And then I made the banner here. It's just a regular rectangle, and we've got this text. And then I had to do this weird trick where I had to warp their hats, because basically the original versions of these, they cut off like this. You see that? And so I was like, well, I don't want them to just sort of be cut off behind the banner here, because the banner is slightly transparent. You see how you can see the line there? And I really wanted to make sure that the banner stayed slightly transparent. So I was like, I'm going to warp the hats upwards in this way to make it at least look a bit more rounded, so that this, you see how now it at least has the rounded effect behind. So I was like, yeah, okay, I feel like that's a good solution. Did a bit of color correction on this, did a bit of color correction on Nacht. And I was like, boom, I'm really happy with this thumbnail. Like, hell yeah. I thought this was sick. I was really happy with it. I was like, this is a great thumb. And it exactly represents all the things I want it to represent. It's most recognizable Zombies character. It's still the 10 stages banner from the previous folks that have used the format over the years in other areas, other genres, completely unrelated to Zombies. And it also has a nice visualization of sort of more normal on the left-hand side to more crazy on the right-hand side. Like, it's checking all the psychological boxes that I look for when I make a thumbnail just of this type at all, right? Any kind of progression. I tried 30 Days of Blah, beginner to expert. All that sort of stuff is always the same vibe, right? So I made the thumbnail, and I actually made the thumbnail pretty quickly from when I sort of started work on it. It all came together nice and fast. And I'm just trying to see here if I can show you guys. Let me see. I might even be able to show you my DMs with Joe. Let's see. Yeah, so this is my server with Joe. And as you guys can see here, we were basically having an issue with our YouTube studio. The YouTube studio was just glitching out because of a YouTube downloader software I use. It's sort of not relevant. But then, and I was like, I've got to stop using that downloader because I think it stops our studio access. Like, it's messing up our cookies. In the meantime, I've quit the program. So Joe can maybe try again in 5 because Joe was having issues accessing studio. And then I was saying, okay, thumbnail's nearly done. It's spicy. And Joe was like, hey, let's go. And then I posted this and he was like, oh, it's spicy as hell. I was really happy with it, right? I don't know did I say anything else about working on the thumbnail? I don't think I did. I think that was pretty much it. I knew I needed to do it because Joe had finished the video. I mean, this is earlier in the day. Like, I woke up at a good time and I was like, what the hell? This is weird. I don't normally wake up at a good time. And then Joe posted the second version of the edit. And so I was like, okay, I know I need to make the thumbnail now because we have this thumbnail-less video. So yeah, like, pretty simply, I made a thumbnail. That's what I did. That is what I do. And so then I posted the video, and it's only then that I was told in my comment section, and Joe saw, because again, like I said, I went to bed because I've been waking up at a pretty sort of normal time recently, which has been very weird for me. But it was only then when I woke up, or when people posted it and Joe saw it, that I even realized that Zach had made any videos in this format whatsoever. I had no idea. So let's take a look at some of those now. So people obviously saw this thumbnail and they were like, what the hell? He's just ripped it. But this is what's happened, right? I have gone through a series of logical jumps to figure out what would be the most appropriate thumbnail for this video, right? And clearly a year ago, Zach did the same thing, evidently. And Zach clearly, if you want to call it copying, but I wouldn't call it copying. It's taking something from an entirely different genre, TF2, Destiny, etc., Roblox, etc., and saying, what would the zombies version of this look like, right? It's inspiration, absolutely, but it's definitely not plagiarism. And Zach has done that here with this video, and I have also done it with my video looking at those other genres, right? And so we've both gone through those same sorts of thoughts on like, well, we need a split face, we want it to go from newbie to pro, etc. And Zach has done some other ones, and they've actually not performed nearly as well, right? This one, the split face is Dempsey and Takio, but it doesn't really show the noob to pro kind of vibe. It looks like this one is Shadowman to Shadowman, and this one's more so. I like the psychology of this one. This is Ted, but it's just like brighter to a bit more discolored, so like it's not super strong again. But it's not really kind of conveying the oomph that I was looking to convey when I made the thumbnail, not having even seen these, right? And so the question that I would sort of pose to you, if you're sort of still skeptical about this, is if you were tasked with fulfilling the following criteria. You need to make a thumbnail for a 10 stages video. It needs to have the banner in the top. Like, that's going to happen because that's what the Shadow Destiny guy is doing, and that's what Homogeneo is doing, and that's what all the TF2 guys are doing, and that's what the Roblox people are doing, and etc., 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 right? So if you were going to have the banner and everything, and you had to decide on a character, who would you choose? Put yourself in the mind of a YouTuber here. Who would you choose as the most relevant Call of Duty Zombies character, period, for the whole Call of Duty Zombies fandom? Who is the most important Call of Duty Zombies character? Is it Weaver? No. Let's be real, it's not Weaver, right? The classic archetypal Zombies characters are Takio, Nikolai, Dempsey, Richtofen. I think we all agree on that, right? And because of the fact that Takio, Nikolai, Dempsey are not in this current universe right now, I think Richtofen is a logical conclusion to come to as like the character. So my next question to you then would be, if you were trying to think of what the best shot of Richtofen would be for this thumbnail to show the newbie, basic, unchanged version versus the evil, demonic, expert, changed version, what would you choose, right? If you were going to Google it, is there a different face-on shot that you would think of in the moment? Like, not copying anyone else. If you were just thinking completely in a vacuum, what would you think of? Like, I mean, there's like, I could have used AI. I guess this is like a render thing that somebody's been working on. I could have gone the render route. I could have paid more money to do the render route. But what else would you have picked here? This is side on, so you can't use it. It's ineligible. Let's see. This is slightly less side on, but his eyes are going the wrong way, so it's ineligible. This is side on, so it's ineligible. Side on eyes, so it's ineligible. Side on, ineligible. Like, what else would you use? That is the question. And I think if you engage with this question in good faith, and you think this through with the YouTuber mindset that I've just sort of explained to you as my thinking, the only conclusions you could come to are either find a character artist that is able to do really good, expressive, angry poses like Liam did, right? Or do it with Drake. Drake may well be capable of that. I may not have just given him the right instruction with the BO1 video. I don't know. I don't want to like throw him under the bus here. That's not my intention at all. But having seen these less expressive renders, I was like, okay, I don't really want to do that. So I could either search anew for a new character artist, or I could do it from in-game assets. And to me, the only contender here for a good answer to that is this. It's the only good thing. I don't think that there is a shot of Nikolai that I can think of face on that would look good. I don't think there's a shot of Dempsey, Takio, basically any other character. Like, this is just the one. And it's the one because of the fact that Treyarch themselves very intentionally reused this same exact posing of his face from this in the tag ending. Like, that was the point, because we saw the Shadows of Evil demon version. I'm pretty sure it's the jump scare, right? Unless am I misremembering that? Let's see. No, I'm right. So it's the shot here from the giant zombified in shadows for a reason. It's meant to be the same shot, right? So it would make sense then to be like, oh, the posing is the same. It works perfectly for us to use. Look, this is another thumbnail of mine. That's a video that I posted ages ago. That was the Dalek video there, but like, yeah, there's loads of shots with there's loads of Shadows of Evil Rectifin thumbnails like all over the place, right? So I think if you are a doubter at this point, I don't really think there is anything I could do to prove my innocence. Like, what could I do? Like, being realistic. Is there, I don't know. What would that be? I've shown you my Discord logs of the conversation on the day, and there is absolutely nothing in there that's like, can't wait to steal Zach's thumbnail. I've told you about Vexian. By the way, TTZach, I went on his Twitter. He doesn't follow me. He's never interacted with me before, as far as I can tell. But he does follow Vexian. So I wonder if he got the idea to do this format from Vexian as well. From following Vexian and Vexian posting about Shadow Destiny's work because they're friends. He might have done, right? That's where he might have copied the idea from. So yeah, I don't really know where to go from here if you are still convinced that this is plagiarism, because like, I've very clearly explained all of the jumps that I went through in my mind for the creative process of making this video. And yet my concern is that Reddit is so keen to execute me, it feels like. And there's so many people on the internet that just like want my downfall to happen, which is really sad. But they're just like that. I think that they don't care what I say here. They don't care what kind of stuff that I show. They don't care that I'm like walking you through the exact thought process I have when I made the thumbnail in the first place. None of them are willing to hear that at all. And it puts us in this awkward position where I'm like, now what do I do? So I've seen some people being like, delete the video, right? Which I don't want to do, because deleting the video makes out like I've done something wrong. Like, it's like I'm trying to cover, like, I'm trying to hide something, right? And I genuinely don't believe I have anything to hide here. Like, we wrote the script together, we made the video together, the video itself stands on its own 2 feet. I think it's a good video. I'm really happy with how the video turned out. It's based on a format from other genres. Absolutely. This strategist suggested that I do based on his own friends' videos doing well, and he was like, you should do this. So we've done that, and then I've made a thumbnail that was the logical thumbnail to make based on the format. So I don't think I've got anything to hide. So why would I delete the video like I'm hiding something? I'm not hiding anything. So I don't want to just delete the video. One thing that I have done is, as a courtesy, I've DM'd Zach on Twitter, and I've said, hey, I've seen that people are upset that our thumbnails are so similar. Zach hasn't said anything as far as I'm aware. But I've seen that other people are upset on your behalf, Zach, about this. Would you like me to swap Richtofen out of the thumbnail? Right? So I've asked him. He's the one that has supposedly been plagiarized here, but I've DM'd him, so we'll see what he says, right? And the question that I would pose to you guys, I mean, I don't think I really even should have to change Richtofen out here, because I didn't see his thumbnail. Like, I didn't copy anything from him. But the question I would have for you guys is there a single shot in all of Zombies more suitable than this particular A-B shot of Richtofen for this kind of thumbnail? Is there a more suitable shot anywhere? And I genuinely don't believe there is. And if I believed there was, that's what would have been the thumbnail yesterday, because I just made the thumbnail based on what I thought was the most fitting. And I'm also, like, it's to the point where today, like, earlier on during my stream, while I streamed Apex for like 9 hours today, so I'm only getting the chance to make this video now. But I was thinking, like, it would be quite interesting to make this like a fun community challenge. Like, what if we did something where, like, honestly, we could honestly do this, right? If I give you this, hold on, oops. If I give you this is my split thumbnail, right? Without the face, okay? If you're a graphics artist or something, if you are able to make a better A-B of these, I mean, that's split in the wrong place. These are the wrong layers. But if you're able to make an A-B, please tweet me. I would be so curious to see it. And if you make a better A-B with a better shot from somewhere, and I run it on the video as an A-B test, and your version gets higher CTR than my version, I'll PayPal you $100 or something. Like, because I believe that my version is the best version. Like, I believe that there is no better shot in the game than what I've used. Because that's how I operate. That's how I work. Like, let me give you another example real quick, guys, okay? Years and years ago, I made my 9 Easter egg guide, right? My 9 Easter egg tutorial. And this is like my text that I use for everything, right? This easy guide text, I've been using that forever. And I think I kind of popularized that look in a big way. And so in my typical approach, I made my 9 Easter egg guide. We were first in the world with 9. And this is the video that I made. I was the first one to post a guide, right? A day later, or some number of days later, or whatever it was, Codename Pizza posted this. Oh, look, it's brushstrokey text. It's the face in the exact same pose. I've got a white stroke on it with a black outline here. Pizza has a black outline over a white stroke. Did he plagiarize me? The answer categorically is no. Like, this is just what happens on YouTube sometimes. Sometimes the best option for a thumbnail is something that multiple people all gravitate to independently of each other, right? Now, do I think Pizza was inspired by my usage of this brushstrokey text to do his own brushstrokey text? Possibly. I don't know. Do I think he was inspired to use the green and orange text layers here that he's using? Possibly, because mine banged so hard in Black Ops 3, and that's been something that a lot of people have used since then. Do I think it's plagiarism? No! This is just art being a melting pot of ideas, right? And over the years, I've had people say that I've copied it from him, which is insane, because I've been doing this longer than half of you guys watching this video have probably been alive. Like, I've been doing this for so long. Do I think it's plagiarism again? No. It's just what happens on YouTube sometimes when the best idea ends up being something that multiple people converge on, right? This is definitely different to scenarios where, let's say I watched Mr. Dalek JD video, and let's say it was a theory video, right? Let's say he had a theory. I'm going to take that theory and pretend I came up with it myself, right? Like his idea that he's like, okay, I've been like connecting some dots here, and here. I'm going to pretend I came up with the idea myself of like, Richtofen is actually David Mason's father, right? If I was like, oh, I think David Mason's father is Edward Richtofen or whatever, and I came up with it myself, that would obviously at that point be shady. That would be very shady stuff. That is not something I'm defending here. Apart from the scenario where if it was genuinely obvious that you could just work that out from the in-game stuff, then yeah, at that point, me and John are going to probably come to the same conclusion and have the same theory, right? But then that's not plagiarism. So you can understand why it's a nuanced topic, and it's one that really, really requires a bit of willingness to engage in good faith and to ask, like, realistically, like, also another thing, realistically, like, why would I do this as well? I think it's a really important question to ask, right? Why would I do this? If I had seen Zach's video, right? Let's say that none of this other stuff existed, and let's say I had only seen Zach's video. Would I be so dumb, so unbelievably brain dead, moronic, stupid to just look at his thumbnail and just copy and paste it? Would I be that dumb? Do you really think that I would do that and think nobody will notice this? Like, I would like to think that you guys don't think I'm an absolute buffoon, right? I would like to think that. I hope that you guys can give me that benefit of the doubt. But you would genuinely have to think I would be so stupid I couldn't tie my shoelaces together if you genuinely think that I would see this thumbnail and then be like, oh, if I copy this exactly, nobody will notice. You must think I'm absolutely ridiculously stupid, right? And if I was that stupid, or if I was that malicious, let's say, this would be happening every day of the week with me. I would have no other content on my channel, right? I would never have posted an original thing ever. Never. I would like the 2-hour Black Ops 1 cinematic story video that I'm about to post like tomorrow. Why would I have ever done that, right? If I could just copy TTZach videos instead. Like, I'd be doing it every day. It would be easy peasy. Why would I pay strategists for ideas, for guidance on this stuff, if I could just copy TTZach? My life would be so easy, bro. But what would happen? People would clock on straight away, and rightly so, I would be laughed out of the community if I was doing that every single day, right? But newsflash, I'm not that dumb, obviously. And the fact that, and this is why I was so frustrated by the people coming into my chat today, that there's been so many people being like, Milo, I'm gonna go back to full screen here for a minute. There's been so many people being like, Milo, I'm so disappointed in you. I'm so disappointed. And I'm like, bro, first of all, at least hear me out. But second, you are not applying critical thinking to this. Like, you are just not. But what you're doing is you're seeing an opportunity to rip into somebody, me in this case. I happen to be a real person, but I'm a figure on the internet, so it doesn't feel like that. I'm just like a fun punching bag for people on Reddit. Cool. But like, you're seeing that opportunity to just rip into me. And instead of actually critically wondering, I wonder what's happened here, you're just like, nope, I want to chase it down. I'm like a dog that's been let off the leash. I just want to go and bite his ankles, right? Any amount of critical thought about what's happened here would tell you that that is obviously not the case. Like, it is very obvious, quite simply. So if you're the sort of person that has been spreading all this in the last 24 hours, I would ask you to reflect. Are you just a hater? In which case, fair enough. You exist. That's fine. Whatever. Or are you someone that is genuinely a fan that got swept up in this just because someone on Reddit said it was the case and you didn't even wait to hear me out? And if that's the case, what are you doing exactly? Like, that's a bizarre way of operating. That's a really bizarre way of operating. To come into my chat and being like calling me names and saying that I'm disgusting and that I should like quit YouTube forever and like there's been some horrible stuff. And I'm here like, what? Like, the fact that you think that I would do that in itself is an insult to me, because that's not how I operate. I've been doing this for 16 years. Why would I throw it away to copy a video that's like, it's like, okay, let's say the video gets the same number of views as TTZach, right? Zach got like 400k views, I think it was, 440k views. Why would I throw away 16 years of goodwill on YouTube for 400k views? Why would I? Bro, I got 100 million views in the last 3 months of last year. 100 million. Why would I throw all of that positivity away to get 400k views maybe, when Zach's other videos are getting 12k, one of them got 50k? Why would I throw it away for maybe 50k views? You're not thinking about this. You're just trying to do a hit piece on me or whatever. It's just weird. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's really strange. And I think that the people that will continue to parrot this, they're just not, you just can't take them seriously. Like, they are not people to be taken seriously, because they are also people that will not have listened to a single word that I've said in this video. So like, please, I guess, guys, if you're watching this and you want to win $100, then, like I mentioned, you are welcome. You are absolutely welcome to take my thumbnail here, paste in a split face of 2 different characters. If you're using renders, they have to be your own renders, because I'm not gonna like take some other character artist's work here without permission. That would be quite ironic given these circumstances. So they have to be your own renders, or you have to use stuff from in-game. If you can make a better version that does better in the A/B test, hell yeah, I'll send you $100 and we'll talk about it in a news video. And I'll even show your submissions in an upcoming news video, okay? That could be a fun little thing for us to do, just as a way to cap off this story. Once you've got some submissions sent in, just tweet me, okay? But I'm confident you won't be able to make a better split than these two. I'm confident, so we'll see. But yeah, as an outcome, I will post about that challenge, the outcome of that challenge, in a news video very soon. Second, if you see people continuing to parrot this, please ask them why they are just hating on me for no reason, because at this point I've explained myself. And if people continue to do it, like, it's just a lost cause. You're really just a lost cause. And the sad thing as well, also, is that, like, as far as reputation goes, as far as reputation is concerned, I haven't been on Reddit. I steer clear of Reddit because I'm scared of Reddit. To be completely honest, Reddit is so mean. It's not good for my mental health. It really isn't. So I haven't looked at Reddit this whole time. I've just assumed that that's where people are probably coming from, right? So the sad thing about this is that all of that Reddit, like, reputation damage yesterday from people crucifying me before they even heard me out, there is no, like, undoing that. Like, there is still going to be someone in 6 months that thinks that I've stolen this thumbnail that I've made here, which is sad. And the people that have jumped to conclusions, they won't apologize. They'll just go on about their day. But, like, this is my career. This is my work. This is my legacy. This is my passion as well. And for it to be, like, thrown under the bus at the first instance, the first even teeny tiny hint of possibility is like, that sucks. I put 16 years of my life into this, and then you throw me under the bus that fast? Like, God. So I'm pretty sad about it. Because no one will apologize for jumping to conclusions, because why would they, right? It's just another day on the internet for them, whereas I'm here, like, living with this every minute of every day. But that's the nature of these things, I guess. So hopefully that helps clarify the situation. I will post this video now, and I'm sure that there will still be people that are mad, but I think I've explained as clearly as I could. And the TLDR, in case people are still frustrated, is a YouTube strategist told me to use the format based on his friend doing the format. So I looked at what his friend did, and I was like, sick. These are great videos. Salute Shadow Destiny. They're great videos. And then I worked on the video, and we made the video with Joe. And then I made a thumbnail that I thought was best suited to the video. That is my crime. I don't think there's a crime there. So let me know your thoughts below. We were planning to make, like, loads more 10 stages videos as well. Now that I know TTZach has done a load, I don't know, maybe we won't. They've also not performed. I don't normally put my time into stuff that doesn't perform. So maybe I won't. But also at the same time, I'm like, I feel like there's room for me to play with this genre. We were going to do a BO3 Zombies one, but we might not do that now, I guess. But we were planning to basically do, like, every Zombies player. Then we were going to do, like, each game could be its own one, because the format lends itself better to that. And I could talk about that more in a different video if you guys really cared, like, the way that we structured this video. But we were going to do, like, 10 stages of every BO6 player. Then we were like, oh, it could be really cool to do 10 stages of, like, every Terminus player even. And it's like, okay, game one, you try and turn on the power at the power thing, whatever it's called, the thing in the spawn, and you, like, die to that. That's like stage one is like, you're like, oh my God, wait, this map's a bit harder than Liberty Falls, right? Like, we were going to do those as well. Should we still do them? I don't know. I want to, but if there's going to be loads of people molding in the comments every time I go anywhere near that format, then maybe we just avoid. I don't know. I would like to still make the videos though. So we may do. But again, if they're not performant in Zombies, clearly they're sort of struggling. Zach's videos are not doing so hot here. Oh, this one's done well. That one's done better. And this one's done well. 400k, that one's done well. So it's maybe just Origins. Maybe Origins was too niche. But yeah, anyway, we're getting into, like, the sort of stuff that I think about all day long. I sort of sit here and think to myself, how can I make this the most performant video possible, right? Like, it wants to target the broadest audience possible. So that's all of COD Zombies. But then it needs to be relevant to the present day. So it needs to be Black Ops 6 Zombies. Then I'm like, this is how I think 24/7, right? But yeah, hopefully that helps explain. if you jump to conclusions here, but you recognize why you jumped to conclusions and you're willing to be like, okay, my bad, you're forgiven as far as I'm concerned. If you jump to conclusions and you've just been pooping on me for the last 24 hours and you didn't even give me a chance to explain myself, I don't think that's cool. Please reflect on that. But yeah, I've got nothing else to say here. Hopefully this explains it all. I'll see what Zach says as well when he DMs me back. But yeah, in the meantime, work on those thumbnail replacements, guys, if you want. Bye for now.